All right, welcome back to ReSpark Fitness Motivation. Now, this is a combinatory video for Course 7, and Course 7 deals with understanding your macro changes and understanding your micro changes. We have the big and the small. We have both. We got things that are close to us and far away. We got things that are in the past of old and in the past of new. We have lots of ways to identify these two spaces that we're now mindful of. Our mindful space has now been identified as something that is minuscule or something that is humongous. We have also applied a new point of view, a second point of view, which is, does this matter to me a little bit or does this matter to me a lot of bit? Our key, our goal, our objective, our key goal objective is for us to understand how. How does this happen for me? How does this happen for you? Because there's going to be many times where the micro or the minority has a larger impact upon you. These are moments in our life that are traumatic to our experiences. It only happened one time and it's been 35 years. Why does it still impact you? It was one small moment throughout your entire life. That is the key. How does it do this? Well, this is the idea of our mindfulness chapter before, but this is us moving forward. Now, instead of moving from being mindful of what goes into our mouth and what comes out of our mouths, I want this, I don't want this. I want to try that, I don't want to try that. I'm okay on that, that's a firm no. Oh, yeah, I've never had it. Like, oh, let me get a shot. Ooh, let me try again. Oh, yes. Those experiences that we've gained from food are now moving towards psychology. We're moving towards the mindset of the experiences more so than us creating experiences through an external point of view. We are realizing that the things inside of us have their own worlds, their own lives, their own experiments, their own changes with the current you that is being lived. So you got to be mindful that you have different mindfulness movies playing at once. Everything is always constantly happening. You are a unification of the world. Your life doesn't stop because somebody else is living theirs. No, your life continues on and their life continues on. And we just see each other as strangers in passing. This beautiful aspect is an example of what happens with us. There are parts of you that are just so busy with its own world that you wouldn't even realize that that was a version of yourself. You would not even realize who you were at that point. Doing things that are right in front of you and then just being like, hey, you dropped the ball. What? I just saw myself in the past. I just saw a future version of myself and I didn't even grasp the concept. We have to start to really know the different ways that micro things can grow up because they might still be micro, but they might look bigger into the world because it's expanded into a new space. So a little problem in the world might be huge for you, and that is what you're searching for. This is like looking at a group. If we had a group of people who can help us out, we want to be able to know that this small subset of this society has a big problem just like me. And it's so small that it's only a fraction of the environment, but it has such an impact on our total society. There's enough centers for me to, let's say, get assistance with alcohol. If I have a problem with alcohol, if I have a friend who has a problem with alcohol, there's not the food that you eat, the mindfulness that you carry, it won't change unless it has an understanding. But if you don't know the core reasons why you change and you only know why you want to change on the macro, then you won't realize that some of these macro changes are actually just micros in disguise. They've expanded. They've just been a bigger problem for society. So now more people have this small problem. So it becomes a big problem and we call it the minority. Sometimes it looks big, and sometimes these big, huge problems are just personal. But because so many people can resonate with the big, huge problem, they don't want to look at the personal details. Then you can just sum up and say, this is what needs to change, instead of how you should change. Nobody wants to point the finger. So we're trying to be mindful of being able to point the finger at ourselves and not feeling like it's a negative thing to do. We have to be mindful enough to leave space for those things to come in that are hard, like we talked about in course 5. It's hard, but I try to find a way to make my hard times more enjoyable. I have to be able to be mindful enough to make the change in how I'm consuming what I need, because I need it. I know I need it. Sometimes it's just hard and you just got to do it. But other times you can change how you view what you're doing, and it becomes easier just with that thought. And this is the point of being able to respark ourselves through variety, through change, through openness, through the ability to maintain a space for a surprise, a present. So let's get into these details a little bit more, and then we'll leave you to actually studying this book a little bit more on your own. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my mouse. It's not working. There it is. Sorry. It's real life over here, players. Oh, look at these things. Micro changes. I could easily get upset, but I'm not. It's just going to be a beautiful thing. Here we go. Took a little bit longer this time. Thank you for being okay with me. And let's get rocking. Course 7. We have micro behavior change and habit formation. So, small things led to big rewards. We all know that it takes about 21 days to establish what we call a change in habit. But we can get to that point a lot quicker by making sure our mindset is predicated uh, upon allowing for change already. So when we're anticipating change, we can move at a more rapid rate because our body is more willing to receive. The best way to increase your micro behaviors is to increase the number of details that we are focused on doing any exercise, even when just performing a thought exercise. This is you filling out your thought bubble, but because you don't have a physical paper, you have to hold on to certain details that are maintained. So when we're imagining things in our mind, we have to realize that we have to construct the space that we're going to imagine on. We have to build the canvas before we can determine the canvas as laid. We have to know, are we drawing on a rock or are we using a construction paper? What are we doing? Am I building with marble? I can't. It's really going to be hard to draw with a block of marble, but I can sculpt a wonderful sculpture from this block of marble. We got to realize what we have, even if it's just in our mind. So, us being able to manipulate what we see in our mind, we can start to see what parts of us are holding up details that are toxic or maybe like a virus to our overall point of view. If you, let's say, are imagining a classroom when a teacher um, explaining a lesson to their students and everyone is being successful, engaged in their learning, and it looks like fun, if you have a voice in your mind or image in the back of your head that says, this here does not matter, this here is a change, this here is this here is that, you're always going to be giving attention to a specific detail. Now, if you cannot cut down that chatter when you're imagining, that is okay. You can now not cut it down, but you can create a space. And this space looks like us creating a cue. You are going to give your classroom a key word inside of this Imaginary thought experiment. Now, not only do the kids in the classroom know how to be engaged in their school lesson, they also know how to ignore external stimuli because they have keywords. They have cues, and guess what? That cue is for them to notice and be mindful of when they're getting off track. And no matter what, I've practiced this cue, so even if I have an external response, I can tune in immediately because I remember what positivity is associated with that action. I've done it so many times, so many repetitive motions of the same thing, this reinforcement of my positive mindset, my positive memory, my positive experience, that trigger would become automatic. And so if the class is distracted and then I give out the call, waterfall, waterfall, all students respond with all falls down because they're free to say it however they want to. So the kids who want to scream, they scream. The kids who want to just say it. The kids who don't want to say it, but they'll think you got a chance to do it all because it's free expression of how you redirect yourself back to a task. It's how do you become mindful? These are the small behaviors. So instead of trying to make one change in one action, you should look at how can you change how you view that one action. The micro details of the change will come from you understanding what you have instead of where you're going. This isn't the only way where you can find a change in yourself. There are many different understandings of personal development and help. This is just the soul inspiration way. This is the way that will go with you and would never leave you because one part of you already knows this. I'm just trying to vouch for that little guy, that minority, that micro energy who wants to make the change. That micro energy that allows us to view things that may vary from day to day to day to day, month to month, month to month. But the fact that we know we're taking action to categorize all those differences into a single space of me trying, me putting in effort, me working, me being disciplined. We can just start to appreciate that and not say, I have to do this many times a week. No, I'm changing. I'm creating newness within myself. I have to appreciate that more details are required if I want to have a longer, stronger, more fulfilled change. I got to know more differences in my details. So, as we create these details for ourselves, we will start to see the changes that we can achieve by being able to be mindful of how they're being achieved. It's a classroom full of different people, man. You got to start to realize that there are more than one answers for your own answer. Even you who knows can sometimes just throw your answer into the pot and just be grouped and categorized as just another person. The teacher can just be another person with a vote in the class. So, navigating and sustaining these micro changes comes with us being able to differentiate and create more changes in the things that we see. Finding more details helps us get more security in what we know and what we can depend on. Yes, I really love doing certain things, but these certain things are common to everybody. But I've overcome these things this way, and I've made changes like this that way. I've had success, other people have not. But there's other ways that people have done things to find success in things that I have not. What can I do? Well, you can stay committed to finding. You can stay committed to looking. You can stay committed to learning. You can stay committed to wonder, curiosity. Stay committed to the things that help you question. Stay committed to the things that make you even want to be listening to this video now. Stay committed to the things that make you say, I don't even know why I'm here. Stay committed to the awareness and the mindfulness that you are here. Stay flexible. See how your mindful changes occur when you change what is on your mind. If you can see the world as a kaleidoscope, then you can see everyone's kaleidoscope as a single entity, one lens. you can invert these perspectives. You can start to be mindful of these changes because you can see yourself progress through the changes of your life, the general, the specific, the reoccurrence, and then the external environments that be motivated as you. Those motivations as you change into what we call macro behaviors. Chapter 7, Course 7B, helps us really understand what we do. These are things when we reflect, helps us understand where we have done them. This course is going to help us see that change happens in the way of experience. This chapter 1 helps us understand that we're going to be enlightened by the way of seeking and exploring. We've been talking about knowing differences, understanding differences, and preparing our mind to go through change, through desired difference. But the exploration of life requires you to just be created. So that means sometimes you're involved in situations that you didn't create for your own self. You can just find yourself in situations or predicaments. Well, these micro changes can create and influence the micro behavior. Let's say you never ever do certain things, but there might be a situation to where you now need to. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you never do certain things. You only play the games on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All your life is now predicated to getting towards Friday and playing the game, and that's your focus. Your macro goal is good or bad, but it's how it alters the rest of your behaviors. Being mindful of how my external goal, my short term goals, my local goals, my daily goals, my minute to minute goals, these are still macro aspects to the energetic changes that we want to seek inside of ourselves. Remember, it takes a long time for the sunlight to get to the earth. It takes a long time for the sunlight to warm your skin. It takes a long time for your thoughts to reach your heart and your mind to enact certain things. It takes time. It takes a lot more time than what you think. These are energies. They don't have a body to transverse space through. So you have to understand it's a lot more crowded for them. The mindfulness is being aware of the best route through the crowd. This is you navigating your thoughts, navigating your daily tasks, navigating your daily to dos, navigating your daily and weekly goals. So you can start to manage the ways that you create behaviors. It's not just all about enacting, we got to create new ways to create. So we know what we know, and we have what we have, and we understand that we have a tool to help us navigate twists and turns and maintain consistencies with all the change. We have a new insight. We are gaining a step closer to realizing our own fullest potential because now we understand the cycle of this change. We know that things reoccur over and over and over, which is the premise of this entire course. This is called ReSpark Fitness Motivation, which means I know at one point in time you're not going to be motivated. And now you're mindfully aware that at some point in time you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to stop. You're going to want to say, I don't care about this anymore. You're going to want to say, this matters to me not. Sometimes that might be true. Sometimes that might be false. But it is the cycle that not only you can go through, and even if your details are the most unique details for your own story that nobody else can live, you still are painting with the same materials. You still are using life to find those details. So if I'm using life and you're using life, that means we're using the same things. There's something that must be the same. These cycles that repeat, maybe we can learn from another as we're unified within this circle. Because you're me and I'm you and we're both here, maybe we can look at what we're doing to make a change. But it's only me, so maybe old me versus new me can help out future me who's not here, and we can all be a team. Being mindful of yourself in any which time will help you understand yourself all the time. As we move forward, We have to start to see there are simple things, and these simple things are SMART goals. These are simple things like SWOT charts. These are things that you learn how to do in life at your job to help some part of life function in society. All of them have things that are in common and that repeat. SMART goals are things that you may have heard of, may have not, but you already do these things. Understanding and being mindful is the difference. So, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely helps us understand details. This is how we detail out change. We have to know what things happen on the micro level, and then we have to figure out specific, measurable ways to get that thing to an attainable state. And we have to make sure that as it's growing, as it's being measured, we are watching it maintain its relevance to our life. If it grows and then it doesn't help us, then guess what? Did I get rid of it and stop it in a timely manner? Did I make my adjustment? If I did not do these things, well, guess what? I need to go back and maybe specify a little bit more of the changes that I'm seeking. Maybe I just don't want to play the game on Friday. Maybe I really want to play with my friends on Friday, and I just don't get off work at the right time. Oh, maybe I can make an adjustment in my schedule. If I can't, well, maybe my friends can make an adjustment in their schedules. I have to specify what thing I want to measure to see if it's relevant to what I want in time. If I don't want to care about it in 3 years, that's okay. I got 3 years out of it. But if I don't want to care about it in 3 years and I don't even want to do it now, it's going to be hard for you to actually get into that in between time. You won't make it if you don't have a way to measure if it's relevant to yourself or not. Whether it's obtainable, that is the secondary. That is quantum. This quantum is happening at a quantitative. This relevancy is quantum at a qualitative. It's relevant to you. I just don't like vanilla. It's relevant to me. You do. These things change. But you have time to specify and measure. Which brings us back to these things here. Yes, you can make bread, but you can change the ingredients of the bread that you make, and you can just start to appreciate how when you have details on the outside that change, it gives you examples of how you can make internal changes. So those thoughts that just won't stop, you have a way to corral them together and then treat parts of them differently. And then you start to divide and conquer those negative thoughts, making some of them, parts of them, portions of them come over to the light. And that way you have less to deal with. You're creating a minority and you're becoming mindful in more details about those minorities, and you're going down to the deep core. You're allowing your macro versions of yourself to lead you down a deeper understanding, understandings and details that are progressive. Knowing more than just fish, knowing more than just types of fish, knowing more than just ways to catch them. Now you're looking at all of the above. I can even fillet and cook this thing. I can do every part of the fish to the point to where I'm out here studying and just watching them. I'm so content with what I see on the outside because I feel so good about all the details on the inside. I will sit here and just watch life all day. It sounds old, but sitting on the porch, it has a lot of stimuli when you value life at the deepest core. And most of us value life at the depths of our core the more time of life that we have. Things just stop being relevant in time. Those macro things become visually appealing to us, but we can see the micro things as more because we can see more of the micros in the macro aspects. I'm not just looking at fruit. Yes, I see fruit. I know fruit isn't meat. So now I just have that nice macro categorical understanding, but what am I really getting to? Now I can get to the details. So, seeing ourselves, having and understanding that the micro can become macro and the macro can become micro. We really got to value and appreciate these changes that happens inside of us again, and then outside of us with other people, where we can review it through another's eyes. We can see both. So I hope that you take the time to explore more of these courses here, 7A and 7B, because each of these has a different perspective upon the things that you have in life. And more so, I want you to take now a brand new point of view of our other materials. You should now have the mindful eye to see the small subtleties within our ReSpark and our SoulSpark products and services, but I want you to go look for small details that is consistent throughout them all. And then take on a different point of view and go look at how it overall maintains a consistency as well and the macros of how it's being expressed. See both because I took the time to create both, but only the mindful eye can see. So I'm hoping that you now have the mind to see, and I hope you see yourself. I'm Mr. Renew, and this is your ReSpark Fitness Motivation course of the day. And today, I wish you a nice day and a nice night. See you next time.